Hey, this is Frixen and I will be reviewing your VOD today. Thank you for submitting it and I will hopefully help you. So this will be this VOD, this Tryndamere game. So now before we jump into the VOD, I want to talk about some rune choices. And all this as well. So first and foremost, going Conqueror. I would not go Conqueror almost ever, including into Shen. I think going Conqueror into Shen is a really bad idea. I think the best runes are as follows, okay? Lethal Tempo at basically every time, Triumph every time. This should be Tenacity because, well, Shen, Udyr, Morgana, Sona all have CC, right? So Legend Tenacity would be way more worth it. Then I think this is useless because it's based on max HP percentage, right? And Tryndamere does not build HP, right? This is also useless because when Shen uses his Q, he gains attack range and he can just pop this every time. So I think second wind is much better, and I think Revitalize is also much better. Now about this tree, this is kinda useless. I would rather go armor and just have that armor all around because, well, it helps us in the laning phase, helps us get early kills and stuff, and it also helps us against Yas and all that, right? So we have that. Now about this, so I would never run these summoner spells ever because I think the biggest issue for Tryndamere is getting kited. No matter how you put it, like if somebody's coming to match you and you want to dive them, if you end up flanking a team fight or something like that, the biggest issue for you is getting kited or being chased down when you're on the sideline and they're approaching you with like multiple people, right? That's the biggest issue for Tryndamere, in my opinion, right? And because that is the biggest issue for Tryndamere, I would recommend running Flash almost always. Like, not almost, literally every time I would recommend running Flash. And then I would recommend running Ignite personally, because I like it for the solo kills in lane. But if you look at some of the best Western Tryndamere players, which is, this is Ranger ZX, a really great Tryndamere player, he's Finnish. I think he's like basically the guy I learned to play Tryndamere from. And he's, as you can see, he always, oh, that's my bad, sorry about that. As you can see, he always runs the same setup, which is Ghost, and Ghost is actually really huge on Tryndamere, like it's so good, so you should experiment with that. You can see he always runs the same runes as well, basically, right? There's like obviously variances in probably between second wind and this, and obviously this and this, right? So like here I would probably go bone plating, to be honest, personally, but I mean he kind of like second one. I also would not go tenacity here, I would go alacrity, but obviously, right, you see, as you see, the general idea is the same, right? That's the general idea for it, right? I'm not sure why this keeps changing, but yeah. Then you look at Fogged, who's also one of the best Tryndamere mains in the world. He's also running the same exact setup, like, see, no difference there whatsoever, right? Like literally all the same, except he takes some flinching here, right? Basically the same stuff, right? And you look here, like, take a look here, same stuff, like all that, right? Now thing about Tryndamere, next thing I want to talk about Tryndamere is the build. So I actually don't agree with going Kraken Slayer here. I know you go to counter Shen and Udyr because they're both tanky, which is good. That's a good idea, right? But to be quite frank, I don't think you're gonna be fighting them a lot. I think you would just sit on the side lane, keep pushing, and whenever they come, you just kind of leave and create pressure that way, because you can't dive Shen and he's just gonna clear the wave if he has the Tiamat, which I mean he did in this game, I guess. But obviously, when you built your mythic, you didn't know if he had Tiamat or not, right? So I would definitely change this for Gale Force, because it again gives you a dash. It makes you able to chase people down. It makes you able to escape sticky situations, all that stuff, especially when you have no flash. I personally think that Kraken Slayer is still a good option here, but personally I'm more of a fan of a Gale Force, because you can't really like make use of the Kraken damage and really. Now the game begins. So instantly I can tell your mistake that you do as Tryndamere. So when the game begins as Tryndamere, you instantly need to level your E. This does not apply to other champions, right? But as Tryndamere, you instantly level your E and you just spin further, so you get to lane first, and you can enter the bush here. Obviously, Kha'Zix wants to start blue, seemingly. He might ward and go bot, but like, seemingly he wants to start blue, but we can just run here. spin, 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 spin into there, and then we're here before they even arrive, right? Or like we're at the same time there. And if we end up meeting them, then we're gonna beat them because our level 1 is stronger than Shen's level 1, especially since we have Ignite, right? You're not gonna need Q or W level 1 on Tryndamere ever. If you start Q or W, it basically ruins your laning phase completely, if I'm being honest. So there's that. Now here, obviously you're gonna help him, which is fine. So I would not stand here. I would stand right here to prevent the either invade or stand. One sec, sorry about that. Or stand right here to also prevent a possible invade, as well as prevent Shen cheesing you level 1, which is unlikely but can happen. Obviously you have the stronger level 1, but you never know. There is no reason to be standing just right here. Oh, so he is starting. So he is starting bot. Like I thought he would ward and then move bot. So here you should look to. You shouldn't be sitting at the turret. You should look to rush this so you can set yourself up for a possible wave coming through. And when the wave comes through, you come out, you hit it once, and then you go back in here. So that's gonna. Sorry about that. So what's that gonna do is essentially. What's that gonna do? I'm gonna pause this for now. So when you come in here, you come out when the wave comes out, right? You hit it once like that, and then you go back in there. That's gonna draw aggro of the minions, and they're gonna start all focus one minion of the enemy team, which means it's gonna set up a push into you. Alright? Which means you can just zone the Shen of the wave. Right now, you're making a very common mistake of pushing level 1. Never do that. Even I know you want to stack your rage, don't do this, because what's that gonna do as a top laner? You're gonna end up like right here with the wave, which means you're gonna get ganked likely, because Udyr gets to level 4 really fast, right? You're not gonna be able to crash the wave, because crashing into Shen is really hard, because if you end up, like, if the wave ends up like right here and you're trying to crash, you just taunts here and runs here, then you're taking 2 shots from the turret that like leaves you in a terrible spot, right? And you also don't want to crash, because what is there for you to do if you crash? You can't dive that early as Tryndamere, right? So you might as well just deny him, CS, zone him, and look for trades early on. That would be a much better option than what you're doing right now. So you're already making a mistake of just letting him get whatever. So I'm gonna rewind his a sec, because the camera went off, right? So he should never be allowed to walk up like this when you're playing Tryndamere. He already used his passive, right? Which means if he used his passive, that means he used his Q, which means the Q can't pass through you, right? And here's a tip for Shen versus Tryndamere matchup. Shen versus Tryndamere sounds tough in theory, because he can taunt you and he's basically unkillable, because his W like makes our auto attacks really difficult to play around. But like for the first 6 levels, it's actually quite easy, because you still outrate him because you have Ignite and you just have more overall power. Like that just literally you just stat check him, right? And then post level 6, it actually becomes like even easier, because if he just TPs the fuck out, you just get everything and then you're like super far ahead. You should never follow him on those TPs ever. You should just like take that time to take the time to get a huge lead, right? And then now next thing is he should never be allowed to walk up like this after using his passive, because what you should do is you should walk up, just run at him, and then just auto attack him a couple times, and then spin back through him with E, right? Then you deal damage that, and then you're back here, and then obviously you can keep walking up further, because, well, he's gonna be lower, right? Like he should never be allowed to be hitting these minions. Like you should never allow him to do this. Like right now, he should be up there. Sorry about this, I'm just gonna do this. So right now, the wave is gonna start pushing into him because you pushed level 1. You're gonna get level 2, and then let's see what you do here. With that level 2, and you start falling back. That's a mistake. When you're about to hit level 2, you need to start walking up. So like this was the minion you were gonna hit level 2 on, right? It's said. So you start walking up before you kill it, and then when you're like right here, you bonk it once and then E onto him. Because you're gonna hit level 2, which means you're gonna have a huge stat spike, right? Like right now you miss out on a ton of damage. That just won't bonk. That's not good enough, right? Okay, you E onto him way later. And like when you're Eing onto people, don't E from like right here to here, because that just like it deals damage and that's it. E from like right here to here, so it's like you end up playing in between him and his turret before he has his taunt, right? And then he can't just run away. You can get sustained damage. You can get like a good sustained damage. Now see what I mean? This is why you don't push level 1, because right now if I'm you there, at 255 I would just gank you. Yeah, I would just literally run up and kill you every time, and there's nothing you can do. Because, well, the scuttle is not yet spawned, which means he has time to gank, right? You haven't crashed here, so he could just like literally keep the wave here, right? It's so easy for stuff to happen here for against you, right? So that's not something we want. I mean, this is exactly why bad wave control is an issue, right? Oh my god, this camera is just keeps fucking me up, if I may say so myself. You shouldn't be allowed to attack those minions. You should be punishing him. Like, there is no reason why you're right here right now. I understand you're scared of the jungler, but if you play around here and the minions are right here, if you see the jungler, which you're gonna see him on the river, right? Because your ward is there. If you see where I'm painting, right? You can try to avoid him by going there. But he should never be allowed to be getting these for free, even though you fucked up the wave control early. Like, you should not fight him right now, because he has level 4, he has an insane minion wave, you're level 3, you don't even have full rage stacked, which means you're likely gonna lose that fight when he drops his W. See what I mean? That's not a fight you should take, because, well, that he just has higher level and more minions. Now you shouldn't be hitting these minions, you should be letting them come into you. You should just be hitting them on like this amount of HP. And then you should be looking to stagnate the wave here, because suddenly this looks like a spot you don't want to be in, because you're low. The wave is kind of not even in the middle, it's more towards this turret, right? So you should just be letting it push. You should just be letting him push into you, honestly. Don't touch the wave, don't try to trade him right now. I mean, he has nothing right now. Like, you don't need to be pushing this. By pushing this, you're just basically asking for Udyr to come. Or which obviously we know he's bot, but like, by the time you push this out, he might as well be back in the top, right? Also, ganking this is a bad idea. I see you asked for a gank. You should never ask for a gank when a wave is like this, because if Kha'Zix does end up coming, you're going to be missing out on all these minions, right? First and foremost, because they're going to crash into the turret most likely. Even if they don't, the minions are going to start killing them and all that stuff, right? So you're going to miss out on a ton of gold, potentially even XP. Ganking Shen is never a good idea, because killing him is hard. And even if you kill him, you gain nothing, because he just TPs back and it's Shen, right? It's literally Shen. As a Tryndamere, you don't need to kill him to get ahead. You just need to like control the wave well, and even if you end up going even, you still have the advantage because you outscale him, right? Well, right now you're just drawing jungle pressure. Like your jungler right now should be right here, clearing these camps. Obviously, this is not up, but like just pointing it out, right? So then, because we saw you their bot, right? And instead of that, you're pinging for this, which means what is that gonna do is essentially just. Likely you're not gonna kill him. Even if you do, it doesn't give you much. You're just gonna miss out on a ton of XP and gold and stuff. Shouldn't be. You should just keep the wave there. Yeah. See, like you have to go up, and you obviously if you went further, you would have lost. Sorry about the messenger sound. You would have lost. You would have lost your. Okay, so this is fine to hit the minions there to chop him. I would just eat through them, to be honest, through this side of the wave. I would not E in the middle. Yeah, but this is fine. This is honestly fine. Now you just need to keep the wave here. Don't hit it and just keep it there. And see, he can never walk up. Also, don't use your Q like that. Keep your fury, so if he doesn't want to walk up, you can kill him. Like right now, there is no reason to be pushing it. If you just kept the wave here, you can legit make him miss XP by just walking up here. Because if he wants to step up, yeah, then he's at this territory and he has no idea who's like waiting here or on here or even there, right? And obviously you're still stronger in a 1-1 because you're Tryndamere until the first back, right? At which point it depends on what you buy. So right now he shouldn't be allowed to walk up here. He shouldn't be allowed to take this minion. Good. Just run at him. Okay, don't use your W prematurely. Okay, so here's an issue you have with Tryndamere. You're playing Tryndamere as if you're, I'm gonna say like Camille, where like you blow your load, or like Renekton is a better example, where you go in, you blow your load. That's what she said. You blow your what the hell am I doing? You blow your spells and all that, and then you just go out because you're lower HP. See, the thing you don't know about Tryndamere is that you take extended fights well, and when Shen's W is like, you fight him while his W is active, and then when his W like deactivates, then you leave. That's counterintuitive to what you're supposed to do against Shen, right? You should take a very extended trade, even if you're lower at that time. You're gonna just out trade him completely because A, you have Ignite, B, you have Full Fury, C, you're Tryndamere, so the lower you are, the more HP you do, the more damage you do. D, he has Fleet Footwork, which means he doesn't really have a sustained way of fighting you like throughout the whole fight, right? So you should just keep taking these extended fights even if you're lower than him, because if you just take these extended fights, you're gonna be able to come out ahead. But what actually happens when you're playing this game is essentially this: you roll in with your E, you do one auto, he drops his W, you auto him through W, you take a bunch of damage, and you just like walk out or like E out if you haven't used this yet, right? And then you end up losing the trade because you're taking the trades that favor him. Right now you shouldn't be pushing this. There is no reason to be pushing this. Like what I would use, I would just slow push it. There is no reason to be hard pushing this. Okay, if he walks up here again, if he walks up past this cannon minion, you should just E onto him and then keep your W so you can slow him, and there's nothing you can do. You're just gonna be like, right now you should just E onto him. Like this is obviously, if I would like you to be here instead of like right here, but I would still just go on top of him. Like there is no reason why you shouldn't be going on top of him when you have level 6 and he has level 5. That's good. That's good. That's good. That definitely isn't bad. Just keep going. Yeah. But that's exactly what I want to see. Now just slow push and make sure, stop using your Q like that. Keep the Fury. And then like when you stack it up and nothing happens, then you can drop your Q. You want to be as slow as possible at all times. Because last stand, Tryndamere ulti, all that stuff, right? Fury. So you're hard shoving this for a back, which is fine. You just back now, don't bother with anything else. You end up backing, and what do you do now? Okay, so this is an issue. Instead of buying all these like scrap items, just get Berserker Greaves straight up, and that's gonna make you like extremely strong and be able to chase people and stuff. Not sure what you're doing right now. This is not something you should ever do as Tryndamere in ever. Like ever, never, ever, never. Like you're just like losing XP and tempo for a potential kill. Especially against Shen, who can just do that, right? Like even if it wasn't Shen, you wouldn't do that. Like right now you're just kinda like not doing what you're supposed to be doing. As a top laner in general, you should never do that where you just run down bot. Unless you're playing Malphite and you still have your TP, but like, I still don't think that's the right play. Again, I mean this is fine to hit the minions right now because you need to chip the wave. This is all fine. Okay, that's an issue. Berserker Greaves should be prioritized over New Quiver most of the time, because fuck the AD, attack speed and movement speed are more important for Tryndamere. Now just keep the wave there. You should never let the wave come here. You should never let the wave crash here. Ever. If you keep the wave right here, you can just have a sick freeze, keep it there, get all the CS, deny Shen CS, because if you just keep the freeze here, not only are you gaining gold and XP, Shen cannot gain gold because his minions are gonna be here that he needs to kill, and he can't walk up there. You can even zone him off XP if you step up further, right? You obviously can't get ganked because nobody's gonna die of a fucking Tryndamere, right? And well, you just have everything perfectly set up to be gaining a lead. Now instead you just lazy these minions under turret and it's gonna bounce back the wave. That doesn't accomplish anything, does it? So now you're hard shoving, which is fine as Tryndamere here. I would exactly what I would do. There is no reason to be slow pushing that. You want to hard shove, and you should not be moving right now. You should never be doing this. Don't do this. You're not playing Camille. You're not playing Malphite. You should never be roaming like this as Tryndamere, ever. You should just hard shove, and when you hard shove, if there is nothing for you to do, you try to take these. Obviously they're not gonna be up because we saw you did here, right? But like, That's what I will go for, because we obviously did not know they were down until we saw you did here, right? You should never just walk mid like that. Like, you're just losing out on XP and gold. You're level 9. You could be like, you could be going for that level 10 instead, right? Also, you saw him on this for a while and you didn't do anything. You should be trying to at least stop it some way. You can definitely kill him. He's level 6. You're level 9. Alright, so you walk in here. He's obviously gonna get it. So yeah, so stopping him would have been a better choice than running mid here. Sure. I mean, okay, so now you can hard shove and just keep try to set up a proxy. So here I would hard shove and try to get right here, so I can just proxy this wave and keep building my lead. That way Shen can't just TP out. So pushing here is fine. He should not be allowed to be up here. Like, you should be rolling onto him right now. He should not be allowed to be getting the CS right now at all. That should never happen. He should not be allowed to get that cannon. Like, he should not be allowed to be doing this when you're this far ahead. You have plus 25 CS. He doesn't even have Bramble Vest. You have a level on top of him. And he's just getting everything for free because you're not focused. You have 2 levels on top of him. Just roll onto him. Yeah, like that. It's fine. Just keep going. It's fine. I mean, you kind of failed the W, but it's fine. See how useless Conqueror is on Tryndamere? By the time you stack it, it's like, there's nothing. So you come. Like, you shouldn't be here right now. You should be setting up a proxy right here. That's much better than going toward him. If somebody comes to gank you, you can get out of any gank basically as Tryndamere with your E, ulti, all that, right? Right now you should just hard shove and try to set up a proxy again. There is no reason to. This is good. This is like really good. Like, you have like a general idea of when to fight. Like, right now you should be fighting. You have, I mean, that's okay. It happens to all of us. I'm not gonna flame you for that. So yeah, you should proxy this. Instead of going for plates, always try to set up a proxy when you're on blue side, because that gives you much more of a lead, because those waves keep coming in. The plates, you can take them later. They're gonna be taken by minions anyway, right? But see, now you have to like leave this. If you proxied, you could have proxied this, you could have gotten this, and you could have went back to the turret. So do you end up backing? You should be backing. You should be backing right now. You have over 2k gold. You have 2.6k. Should have backed way sooner, but it is what it is. So you get the Kraken Slayer. I mean, based on the game flow, it's actually fine to get a Kraken Slayer here, because Shen is matching you almost every time. I was wrong about the Gale Force at the start. I'm sorry. So here I would just roll onto him, even if somebody's there, you're trend, it's fine. Yeah, oh no, don't roll out, just keep going. You just need to keep going, there's literally nothing he can do to stop you. Okay, you stuck your Conqueror, okay, so you just proc your Conqueror and instead of going further you stopped. Like, what can he do to get out of this? Obviously it would help if he had flash, but like... Okay, so what do you do now? He should never be allowed to do this. Like, he should never be at your turret, ever, no matter what. So let's see how you play out the rest of the game here. You shouldn't be moving, you should be pushing. Like, this does nothing for you. Yes, you gain extra CS that you could have gained in top, but you also would have pressured the top lane. Like, this is... Your champ is useless in these scenarios where you have to, like, defend siege. Like, Tryndamere provides nothing in defending the siege. Absolutely nothing. So yeah, now you're just sharing XP and gold, which should never happen, right? I mean, this is okay-ish. It's not the best because it's kind of obvious, but like, it's okay-ish because it can definitely work and it could put your team back in the game, which you definitely need. You need that desperate play that's gonna like put your team back in the game, because you really far. Now you should just leave. You should just leave now. There is no reason you shouldn't leave, and you don't have flash. You should have kept your E to E over the wall. You should just turn this and try to like kill something. Yeah. Oh, you should have went over. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay, so here you shouldn't be here. You should be up there. You should be matching him. There is no reason you should be right here. You're Tryndamere. Stop playing like you're team or something. You know what I mean? You're not playing Garen or Timo. You need to be you're playing Tryndamere. I mean, you're clearing the jungle, which is fine. I would not be here. Yes, this isn't like you're here, so you might as well like get those kills. But like, see how useless your champ is in those scenarios. Like, there's nothing you provide here. You would be much better off just doing this, which is exactly what your champ is supposed to do, right? You should just keep pushing. There is no reason you should back. If they end the game, they end the game. There's nothing you can provide there. Your team is supposed to be able to wave clear without you. So what changed with you being here? Nothing, because, well, you don't do anything there. You simply don't. So now you should just keep pushing. You shouldn't back. You should keep going. You should definitely keep going so you draw pressure. Like right now you have no pressure on the map whatsoever, because you just get minimal advantage and you back. This is Seraph's job. This is like Ryze's job. This is Kog'Maw's job. This is anybody's job but yours. You should never be in this scenario ever. Okay, so let's see what you do next. You should go bot right now. You should never be in a lane against other people. You should be bot and trying to push up that, because the objective is Baron, and like because Baron is on the map, they're obviously gonna be playing top side, which means bot side is for us to be playing around. So do we go bot? No, we end up staying with our team. So now you're just putting yourself behind. What you're doing is essentially just putting yourself behind, because now you're just sharing XP and stuff. What you should be doing is you should be going for the play on the bot, and you should be pressuring the map so they have to send people to you. Right now you're just like putting yourself behind. If you just played it right, you would be like level 17 right now. Like at least level 17 in my opinion, or at least like level 16. Actually, I want to check something out. So this is a mistake on Tryndamere. Don't ever take your second level ulti, just level other spells and keep your ulti at level 1. That it doesn't give anything to take further levels here. So I would not be here because we can't match him because he's too strong. We should be right here and just trying to draw out other people to us. Like, we'll never be able to match this Yasuo because he's just like that strong. And now the team is coming up and like nobody's just getting this. I would just honestly TP there and just get all that. Now you're just gonna end up sharing XP with Seraph, and that's just gonna keep putting you further behind because you're just sharing XP, right? So what do? You keep. There is no reason you should be here, as Tryndamere. There is no reason you should TP there right now because this hasn't pushed up yet. So you're prematurely using your TP there. You should have TP'd either before or not TP'd at all. So now you're pushing. This is fine. Not much else to push out. When you're back, there's not much else to do. This is fine. Okay, you're back, and now what do? I mean, you should just give this up. There is no reason you should be trying to match him here, because if you give this up, that means you get more CS and gold from the super minions, right? More CS, creeps, more CS, more XP, all that, right? You should be trying to get all the resources you can, so potentially farming this, or just trying to match here so you can get these. There is no reason you should be trying to match this, because, well, somebody else is going to have to clear the Nexus turret wave. You provide nothing there. Absolutely nothing. If he wants to keep going, maybe somebody can clear the wave. If not, that's not your job. You just try to stay here and get all the CS while you can. And XP and stuff alone. There's nothing you do here. Obviously, okay, to be honest, the game is over. You lost 3 inhibs and they're in your base and they're about to end, right? So it's pointless to review now, right? So now I'm going to give you a little summary, okay? Number 1, all the Tryndamere tricks, like Tryndamere specific stuff, like starting E and just running it, not leveling ulti, like pulling the wave, so like consistently rolling onto them and all that stuff, right? Like rolling behind them, like not being able to take trades when you seemingly lost them, etc, etc, etc. Then all the second thing is all the like runes and stuff, like be a bit more better with that. All the summoner spells, you shouldn't be running those summoner spells if I'm being honest. 3 is 3 is wave control. You have to be better at wave control than just mindlessly push. Number 4 is trading. Like, you should be way better at trading. You should be trying to zone him off more. You should be trying to assert your dominance, not just like let them do whatever they want to do. Like, to with a wave, you should be like always trying to punish them, and you should always be looking for a fight. Number 5 is counter jungle. Wait, number 5 is proxying and counter jungle. So when you're ahead and you just keep pushing in this wave, go for a proxy and look to counter jungle the enemy jungler. So you put not only the top laner behind and yourself ahead, but also put the enemy jungler behind and yourself even further ahead, right? Number 6 is splitting. Like, as Tryndamere, you can't be with your team ever. You're like useless in those situations where the enemy team is sieging. Like, you do nothing in that. You're much better off drawing pressure. Pressure is the name of the game when you're playing Tryndamere. Sometimes you're just gonna fucking lose because they're gonna go and end the game and nobody's gonna be able to wave clear. But you're gonna be useless there. You're not gonna change anything there, right? Like, absolutely nothing. So you might as well just keep committing to the split push and keep committing to being strong, because right now you should be level 18 if you just stopped sharing XP and stuff. Then obviously all the stuff we talked about, like back timings and not being and not wasting time on like warding when you know where the enemy jungler is, and instead going for proxy, all that stuff, that's something that's like you need to work on if you want to keep playing Trynd. And Trynd is definitely it's definitely a good champion to climb, but it requires a specific playstyle. You can't just be playing it like very conservatively. You have to like know the matchups and you have to know your limits with him. Like, that's very important when you're playing Tryndamere. So yeah, so this was Frixen. Hopefully you learned something, and thank you for watching.